Good morning, everybody. Most of you drive an SUV or have driven an SUV, and the DNA of the SUV goes back to the Willys Jeep. And it was on this date in 1940, November 11, that Willys submitted its design for an all-purpose four-wheel drive vehicle to the Army. When World War I began, the Army was quite interested in a four-wheel drive truck, and here's a simple version of one. All during the 1930s, as car companies were experimenting with small powered vehicles, the Army was quite interested, and they were especially fascinated by the idea of four-wheel drive. Could we have a small vehicle that had four-wheel drive? Now, the Japanese had actually created a little four-wheel drive vehicle in the mid-1930s. So our Army sent proposals to our car companies if they'd be willing to submit a design proposal. Here's the Bantam from 1940. Ford also had a proposal for the Army called the Pygmy. And all these designs had various strengths and weaknesses. And the one that the Army finally settled on was this one, the Willys Quad. And this was the main design for World War II, with modifications as the war progressed. What really fascinated the American people was four-wheel drive, and this Popular Science article from 1941 explained it. Lend-Lease was the program we used to send war material to our allies, so this is one reason the Jeep spread all over the place. Our factories were just cranking these vehicles out, and they were everywhere the American Army went: Africa, Asia, Europe. The Jeep was patented in 1942, as was the name, but there's some debate as to the origin of the word Jeep, so you may want to look that up. Now, the Jeep was very versatile, and it could be customized, so to speak. There was a really neat trailer that you could get. Now, one of the original design goals for the Jeep was communication, so there was a big battery-powered radio kit that filled up almost the whole back half of the vehicle. The Jeep was also intended to serve in combat support, so one of the adaptations was to put a gun mount on the back so they could be actually used in combat. They were also designed to go through shallow rivers or creeks, so you could get canvas to cover the front and elongated exhaust pipes to help go through water. There was a design for really cold weather with doors and glass and a real roof. Now, the Brits were pretty creative. They thought maybe we can put helicopter blades on a Jeep. Didn't work so great, but hey, you guys, good effort and nice imagination. And there was also a rocket attachment kit that would go on the back of the Jeep. So the Jeeps were used for all kinds of things. And if you really needed that Jeep in a hurry, maybe an airplane will drop one to you with some other things attached to parachutes. Now, the grille of the Jeep, which is iconic today, was a simple design to be strong and just take all kinds of abuse. Didn't become iconic until later. And by the time World War II was finished, around 650,000 Jeeps had been produced. So that's really an amazing number, isn't it? General Eisenhower, here in his Jeep, supposedly said the Jeep was one of 6 reasons why we won World War II. And when Winston Churchill went to Berlin after the war to tour the ruined city, he, of course, got around in a Jeep. When the war was over, Jeep tried to market four-wheel drive. Here's a 1949 station wagon. But the mother of the modern SUV is probably this car, the 1984 Jeep Cherokee XJ. This is probably the first modern SUV. So maybe you have a Jeep, maybe you know somebody who does, maybe they belong to a Jeep car club. And one way the Jeep entered popular culture is in the movie Cars, where Sarge is a Jeep, second from the left in this picture. Another legacy of the Jeep is the fact that about half of the cars we drive today are SUVs, which are descendants from that early Willys Jeep. So the next time you're in your SUV, think of that simple vehicle that helped win World War II.